Welcome to the North presentation. We promise you it's not that grim. We are Nicola Hawthorne-Jones, Senior Psychologist, Vicky Morris, Lizzie Shepherd, Georgina Tidswell, and we also have Tessa Fox, who's currently on maternity leave, and Jeff Morgan, who's kindly covering some of Tessa's maternity leave. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so I'm Nick. I've been qualified 18 years. I've worked in Calderdale, Bradford, North Yorkshire, and then I came back to Bradford because I was missing it that much. I've got a background in children who were looked after and those who were adopted. I'm part of the original 4 EPs who set up the traded services here in Bradford. They were Helen Galt, Joe Haynes, Ruth and myself, and we all still work here, which must be testament to how great a job we all probably did. Now my greatest interest is in traded services and team sustainability and turning the tanker to enable services to evolve. I see EPs as agents of social justice as well alongside that. I'm Welsh. I'm the mother of 2 grown-up children. I'm a allotmenteer. I'm also a wife, a sister, a friend, an advocate, a dog owner, a singer, hiker, a veggie, a rugby fan, obviously Wales, a traveller and a small holder in waiting. Next slide. Okay, so we've divided the tasks up to present today, and I had the task of which famous people are from or lived in our area of the north of Bradford. Our first one is Titus Salts, and although he was born in Morley in Leeds, he became a son of Bradford. He became a Bradford philanthropist, building Salts Mill and the village. He named the streets after his children. He also became a politician. He wanted to create an environment where people could lead healthy, virtuous, and godly lives. Also very well known are the Bronte sisters, Charlotte, Emily and Anne, who originally wrote in pseudonyms, male pseudonyms. Although they were born in Thornton, they are most associated now with Haworth. And also David Hockney, who was born in Bradford, went to Wellington Primary School, and he is the resident artist at Salts Mill. Next slide, please. Also, Captain Tom Moore, who's recently become very famous and a household name. He has, during COVID-19, raised money during the run-up to his 100th birthday, and he is the son of Keithley. There's many famous people who have been born who have resided in the north of Bradford. It was quite tricky to choose, but I chose Alistair Campbell, politician, Kiki D, singer, Willis Hall, who was the author of Billy Liar, Dennis Healy, politician, Peter Mayhew, actor, Molly Sugden from Emmerdale, Rodney Bewis, the actor in Likely Lads, Timothy Taylor, the brewer, Jessica Knappert from The Inbetweeners, and Ernest Shackleton, explorer. Thank you.
Hello. So, hello, I'm Georgina, and this slide's about me. So I have an interest in positive psychology and in using psychology to support families, such as through the VIG, which is something I want to learn more about. I also have an interest in looked after children as a group that I would like to support, and particularly support. In my spare time, I like cooking and walking and running and singing and playing the guitar. Next slide, please. Oh, and I forgot to say that I worked as an English teacher at schools around Bradford, in and around Bradford, for over 10 years before I did my master's in psychology and became an assistant. And I've worked in Lancashire for about 2 years as an assistant, and then I wanted to come to Bradford because I was born in Bradford and I still live here. And then my task was to find some landmarks in the north. So I got my husband, who's a photographer, to send me some pictures, and these are pictures that he took. And we have the Cow and Calf Rocks in Ilkley, which is looking stunning. Next slide, please. And I think this is Harden Waterfall, looking beautiful. Next slide, please. And then my last slide, which is Saltaire, Salts Mill in Saltaire. And that's all. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Lizzie, and I've been in the North team for 2 years as a trainee. I'm now coming up to the end of my 3rd year, so hopefully we'll soon be a qualified EP and in North team. When I'm not at work, I enjoy cycling and walking with my family, who are my husband and 2 daughters who are 10 and 8. And I've developed a particular interest in systemic psychology and hope to work more with schools towards organisational change and using sort of solution focused work and approach to work towards systemic change. Particular interest in how behaviour is managed in schools and trying to support schools to move towards a relational approach and how that can be achieved in schools, particularly secondary schools. And I like using therapeutic approaches to casework, so the guiding principles of narrative therapy, which I've had experience of using. And my task was to give you some top tips if you're in the North team when you're out and about. So where to go for a comfort break, where you can stop for your lunch, as the North is a vast area and we're the furthest away from the office in the centre of Bradford. There are plenty of supermarkets, so you won't be caught short if you need to stop and use the facilities. There is a lovely farm shop, Keelan Farm Shop in Thornton, where they have an outside sandwich stall as well. The original Agra was in Shipley and still there if you want to stop for a longer lunch. And if it's a nice day, you can eat outside at Five Rise Locks in Bingley or the grounds of Cliff Castle. So it's a really diverse area with lots of places to stop and refuel if you're out and about all day in the North.
Oh, hi, it's me. I'm not supposed to be here because I'm not really a North person, but I'm a sort of honorary North today because otherwise I didn't get to play. So I'm Ruth Dennis, I'm Principal Educational Psychologist. I've been Principal, I was trying to work it out, I think it's since 2013, but somebody might want to correct me on that. Prior to that, I worked in Calderdale and in Kirklees and Bradford in various roles. So in work, I just love systems psychology. I like spotting opportunities so that I can see how we can use psychology, promote education psychology to resolve issues and solve problems. When I'm not doing that, out of work, I like sport and fitness. So I run, Georgina, like you. I also have a netball team, which is hopeless, but we enjoy ourselves and had a good laugh. So if anybody wants to join a netball team, they're very welcome. I play trombone in a band, which is a sort of oddball street band, and I like being outdoors, especially on the beach, which I haven't been on the beach for such a long time, but hopefully I'll be on one soon, even if it's in Scotland. Next slide, please. So I just put some stats up about the schools in North. So there are 79 schools in North, and that is 35% of the total number of schools for the district. So we've got, in North, you've got more than your fair share of schools. And that's because a lot of them are very tiny little village schools with maybe a 15, and a cohorts of 15 to each year. 49% of those schools in the North buy time from us. So we have a contract with 49% of them. But the number of sessions they buy on average is quite low. And so you'll have quite a number of schools who only have 3 sessions and the average is 10. So that sort of takes us between the big buyers such as Beckfoot and the tiny little buyers of 3 sessions. I think that's me done.
Hello, I'm Vicky Morris. So I trained in Cardiff in 2004, 2005. If anyone knows anything about Cardiff, they might know that they train you well in Camoira. So I still use Camoira. And if anyone would like to talk about Camoira, I'll talk about it to anyone who listens. So before working in Bradford, where I've worked for 5 years now, I worked in Wales for 10 years. I worked in 3 different local authorities in Wales. And the education system is quite different there. So if anyone's interested in that, come to me. My interest include mental health, social constructionism, pupil voice, and working with families, including the use of VIG. I really believe in the power of conversations or well-written narratives as agents of change. So some other stuff about me, I write poetry and some fiction. So I have recently entered the Saltaire Festival poetry competition. I'm sure I won't do it well at all, but there we go. I'd like to learn to play the violin for my 40th birthday. Haven't got long, I mean, begin to learn to play it maybe. I have 2 sons, 10 and 13, and as you can see, I have a motorhome. So can go to the next slide. So we were talking a little bit about the law, and I was going to share a bit about how vast and diverse it is. So you can see there's a little map of the north, and everything on the top side is of Bradford is basically the north, and then everywhere else is below. So you can see it's a huge area. So there is a lot of driving, but then there is also a lot of diversity. So you can see from the other little maps some key places in the north. So we have Ilkley and Wharfdale, for example, which have got some of the lowest rates of deprivation, so actually quite affluent areas and small schools, lots of rural areas, parents who may be very different to some of our other areas. Then in Keighley, that's one of our least affluent areas, again quite built up, more densely populated. So it's a really kind of varied area and a varied experience to work in the north. And as people have said, you get to do a lot of lovely driving through picturesque places, and you know, even in the built up areas like Keighley, like some of the old buildings, like the old library, they're just kind of amazing to look at. So it's a really nice and varied experience, very diverse. Yeah, I think that's all I had to say. Thank you.
We also have, hi, it's Nick again. We also have Jeff. Jeff is very kindly covering some of Tessa's maternity leave. He is the Specialist Senior for Research and Development. So he is going to be an honorary North team member. And then Tessa will be back in April. She's been with the North team for quite a number of years now, and she is our queen of emotion coaching. She's currently on maternity leave.
Are you going to round us up, Nick?
And that is the end of our presentation.